Hello guys, gals, and everyone in between, my name is Ithildor. Today I'm here to speak to you about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now, it is the longest running movie in the whole of the saga, the Skywalker saga that is, and I chose this one because it's infamous. Very, very infamous. So, please stay with me. I will make mistakes, so please just point them out for me in the comments. I've probably already said that. But yes, this is the second in the trilogy, the sequel trilogy. And it is the only film in this trilogy directed by Rian Johnson, and I think that's a good thing. I will be looking at this film and all of the other previous Star Wars films only. The only external sources I will go to is Wikipedia for certain things like numbers, mainly. Numbers. Now, you may ask me why I chose The Last Jedi and not The Force Awakens, as this is the second in the trilogy. Because of three different reasons, the last one being because I can. The first two is, well, as I've said already, the second movie is very, very infamous. So many people hated on it. And I'm going to explain to you why and how people came to that conclusion that they didn't like it and why it's bad. The second reason being that I'm doing what George Lucas did. I'm starting directly in the middle. But anyways, all of that aside, let's hop into this movie, shall we? This one starts like any other in the Star Wars franchise. The title crawl. It's a sort of synopsis, in case you didn't know. It explains what happened between movies, and it reads like this. The First Order reigns. Having decimated the peaceful Republic, Supreme Leader Snoke now deploys his merciless legions to seize military control of the galaxy. Only General Leia Organa's band of resistance fighters stand against the rising tyranny, certain that Jedi Master Luke Skywalker will return and restore a spark of hope to the fight. But the resistance has been exposed. As the First Order speeds towards the rebel base, the brave heroes mount a desperate escape. As title crawls go, it's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not horrible. I personally enjoy it. Some I have spoken to don't really enjoy it very much. I don't really know why. It is an improvement over The Force Awakens title crawl. That one was probably the weakest the franchise has ever had. But you can't really mess up a Star Wars title crawl. The film opens with the Resistance base, as mentioned in the title crawl, being evacuated in a panning shot of people running to shuttles. The scene cuts to inside one of said shuttles, preparing for takeoff. The officers inside are talking to each other, mainly talking about how they need more time for the evacuation and that they missed some supplies, which is a play into the fact that the Resistance isn't funded very well, and they look up in fear as General Hux's fleet drops out of hyperspace. A fleet consisting of 3 Star Destroyers. That's not counting the Dreadnought that's about to appear. But we will talk about that one later. As for now, we have Hux's present fleet. A fleet with the capability to decimate entire countries from orbit. But not talking about their firepower, we can find, through a quick Google search, the First Order's destroyers can carry around 2 fighter wings, or 144 starfighters. And through looking at The Force Awakens, we can find that each starfighter is capable of strafing the ground. And doing a little bit of math, we can find that this fleet has, at the very, very minimum, 432 starfighters, each of which are capable of strafing the ground, and most, if not all, have torpedoes. This means that right now, right at this very instant, 432 starfighters could be deployed in waves to harass the ground or the shuttles. But neither of that happens. Not one starfighter is launched, not one cannon is fired, nothing happens. And if they're unable to do that, we can talk about the stormtroopers. Each Star Destroyer has 8,000 stormtroopers, and they are able to be deployed on their shuttles in groups of 20. Each Star Destroyer holds 100 of these shuttles, which means that at this very moment, 100 shuttles from just one Star Destroyer should be starting to deploy, each with 20 troops on board, which means at this very point, 300 transports could unload a whopping 24,000 stormtroopers in waves. But none of these three options even happen. Not once in this even tiny segment of the film. None of it happens. Just on these 3 Star Destroyers should be 24,000 stormtroopers, 432 fighters. This army on the Star Destroyers should be deployed in groups of 6,000 from 300 transports, with 432 fighters being capable of escort and harassing anything. But no, none of it happens, because then the movie would be shortened too much, and then we wouldn't be able to fit in Canto Bight. Sorry. I just really hate that scene. I really hate it. It shouldn't even be in the film. Why does it exist, Ryan? Why? But that aside, this scene just shows that Hux is incompetent. And I don't like it because Hux isn't shown to be incompetent in the first film at all. Actually, the very opposite. He's somewhat of a overachiever. He leaps and bounds over the hurdles. He does everything in his power just to do the very, very maximum, and he doesn't even do anything in this one segment of film. It hasn't even been 10 minutes and I'm getting angry. Hux has missed out on not only deploying his vast army of stormtroopers, he's missed out on deploying his starfighters to harass the enemy. He hasn't even fired a single shot. He isn't just incompetent in this film, it's a wonder his brain's working. Any actual competent commander in this position would have at least sent out their starfighters to harass the enemy. It's just common sense. He could send down a ground invasion force to take as much information as possible. Maybe they left something. Maybe there's something in the base that the Resistance has, some information, something that hints to where they're going. And he doesn't even do that. He doesn't deploy his ground forces, he doesn't deploy his squadrons, he doesn't do anything. The only reason he wouldn't is if he was a spy, and we only find out he's a spy between the second and third films. He only becomes a spy then. And even then, he'd have to be a really blatant spy, just pointing it out to everyone, holding up a sign, "Hey, I'm working with the Resistance." And no, I'm not going to apologize for not pointing up a spoiler. These films have been out for years. If you haven't watched them already, why are you even watching this? And how haven't you watched them? I'm pretty sure everyone's watched them at this point. To those saying that Hux didn't know where the Resistance base is, it's wrong, because it's shown later on. They do know where it is by the Dreadnought shooting at the area. So, yeah. But aside from that agonizing scene, we see that the shuttles have cleared the atmosphere and reached the Resistance fleet. And then is when Hux makes his move. Why? Why, Ryan? Why? Why? Here's also when the Dreadnought appears. Yeah, that Dreadnought I talked about earlier, but didn't want to talk about fully. Yeah, it appears here. And guess what? It's the first and only time we see it in this whole sequel trilogy. I'm not kidding. This is the first time you're ever gonna see it, and the last time you're ever gonna see it, so enjoy it while you can. Do you want to know the first thing it even does? It powers up its weapons, right? And it shoots at the now empty base. That's the first thing it does. It shoots at an empty base. Only just abandoned. It doesn't even shoot at the fleet about to jump into hyperspace. It doesn't do anything like that. No, it shoots at an empty area of land. But guess what? Don't worry. It's Poe. Poe's shown up. It's Poe. That one guy. Yeah, it's him. Yeah, he's here. He's in his X-Wing and he's got BB-8. He's... Wanna know the first thing he does? Don't worry, don't worry. It's only a yo mama joke. He goes up to Hux's ship and he asks to speak to General Hugs. Hugs. Like a hug. Then he says General Leia's got a message about him for his mother. And Hux only figures out he's joking with him when his officer points it out. So Poe, in the wake of the destruction of their only base, and all of the supplies and information that was in it that could have been very, very useful to the First Order, he goes up to the First Order capital ship, and he makes a yo mama joke towards General Hux. Why, Ryan? Why? Stop, please. After that, Poe starts to attack the Dreadnought, and he does pretty well. I mean, he is the best pilot in the Resistance. He destroys the cannons pretty good. Very fast, too. Would recommend, would do it again. It's not played out that it's because he's an incredible pilot. They say it's because he's too close and they can't shoot him. No, it's not that he's too close. He's the best pilot in the Resistance. Just say that, Ryan. Thanks. And if you're saying Ryan was only the director, no, he was the writer as well. He was the writer and the director. So don't try and cover for him saying he was the director. He was both director and writer, and it's making me really angry. There's plenty of things you can do here, Ryan. You could have the camera focused on one of the turrets and have them really slow. The gyros aren't turning fast enough to shoot at Poe's X-Wing, but no, you have an officer saying that he's too close and that they can't hit him. You could at least have one of the characters on the bridge say that's one hell of a pilot, mirroring what Finn said in the Force Awakens. I'm getting really angry here. I'm messing up my words. Sorry. But don't worry, we got a bit of tension coming on, because a few TIE fighters have been launched. Finally! But it's not many, it's just a couple. There's like 5, maybe 6 of the 432 that could be deployed right this instant. I mean, not right away, obviously. You can't deploy 432 starfighters with no preparations. But, you know, quick response. You gotta do something, Ryan, please. But what he chooses to happen on screen is very, very horrible, and I wish it wasn't in the film, but it is anyways, because this film has to be funny and entertaining for the whole family to enjoy. So what happens is, the TIE fighters fly in, they shoot at Poe, they hit him, and you'd expect Poe to instantly go into a fiery inferno and die, like a big explosion. You know, something to have on screen, like, oh no, this happened, but they wouldn't let Poe die that easily. We all know he's got another film to go into. So instead of dying, get this, his weapon systems fail on him, so he can't destroy it's the literal very last turret on the Dreadnought. It's the very last one, and he can't shoot it. Then BB-8 does a very funny thing where he goes under to fix it, and there's a bunch of sparks on the circuits and everything, and he plugs the sparks, and he gets shocked a little bit, and then when the sparks just keep coming and coming and coming, when he tries plugging them up with his metal mechadendrite thingy, he whacks his head into it, and he does a very funny thing where he electrocutes himself, and hopefully he dies, but he doesn't, because that's not this type of film. It's gotta be very funny for the family to enjoy. So, instead, what happens, he gets electrocuted, and it's played as a laugh, and the weapon systems come back online. I wish I was joking. They played this in the cinema with a straight face. Well, probably not a straight face. And they just... That's not how circuitry works, Ryan. I don't really know myself, but I'm sure that's not how it works. You don't just get sparks when something fails and you plug them with your fingers, and then when all else fails you whack your head into it. That's not what happens. And keep in mind, this is going to be a running gag where BB-8 is put into the background or the foreground or anywhere to make things funny. It's his character now. Don't worry about it. It's fun for the whole family to enjoy. But then, don't worry, because it doesn't stop. Nothing. No, it never stops. It keeps on coming no matter what. Out of nowhere, a Deus Machina appears. If you don't know what a Deus Machina is, it's something writers do when they write themselves into a corner and they can't get themselves out of said corner, so they make like a really weird thing that doesn't even make sense at all. It comes out of nowhere and it fixes everything and then it disappears. That's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what happens. Let's get into it. So this Deus Machina in particular are the bombers. Now, you've probably heard about these bombers or seen these bombers or something like that, and you've maybe been a bit angry at it, maybe been a bit confused at why people are angry. So let me tell you why people are angry, including myself. So these bombers are based on the, B-17 Flying Fortress or whatever it's called. And the name is very, very similar to the name it has in real life. Ryan put it in there because it's like a nod to the World War II vibes you get when you watch Star Wars. And probably because he has, his own fascination with the topic, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he seems to like it, which is nice. Good for you, Ryan. But, it's a bit too big, bulky, and slow. So we'll go deeper into this, obviously. These things are horrible, and, they're horrible because they're huge suicide machines of war. That's how I'm going to describe them, and that's what they are. They're made by a group with limited people that are sending people to certain death in these things. 3 of these things in this one scene get destroyed by a single crashing TIE fighter. It didn't even mean to crash into them, I don't think. And it took out 3 of them in a domino effect. The way they're made, it's like they're designed to die with the target. And they do die with the target. I just don't understand why Ryan would put this in here when it's just so... You could just use Y-Wings, Ryan. Y-Wings. They're from the Clone Wars, the place that everyone knows, and they're in the originals too. Put your own spin on that, like you've done with the X-Wings. Make them more advanced looking. Make them somewhat faster than you'd think they would. Make it like... Because the Resistance should be employing hit-and-run targets when they have such small amount of forces. In this one scene, the whole of the Resistance is assembled, right? It's 3 big ships and a very large amount of very small ones. Those very small ones being fighters. I just don't understand why they wouldn't use X-Wings when they should be able to use and find X-Wings when they're part of a established and very large government. A little known something called the Republic, the New Republic that took down the Empire a couple of decades previous. I don't understand how the Resistance could go and be underfunded like this. It's not something the Republic would do, especially when they know what fascist governments can do. And when there's one developing in the unknown regions and the Outer Rim and all that, which is the First Order, they don't even do anything. They don't even do anything when there's a big Death Star-like thing. They're probably even warned by the Resistance. They don't even do anything. Mass casualties are in the millions, maybe even in the billions, and nothing is done. Nothing. And it does look like in The Force Awakens they blow up Coruscant, but it's not Coruscant. I just want to throw that out there in case I never do get to the Force Awakens. You can really tell that this whole trilogy, the directors weren't talking to each other. And it's odd to have a trilogy with different directors, but they weren't communicating either. This whole thing is just one idea after another from different people. They aren't connected in any way. They should be standalone films, not in a established universe with fans that love it and all sorts of people everywhere that know it. I can't believe that... Oh, I've gone on and on. Yeah, let's get away from this before I get any more angry. Getting back to the topic at hand, we find ourselves watching as Poe's little group that show up out of nowhere start to get massacred. It's mainly the A-Wings and the X-Wings that shown up, and they get absolutely destroyed. It's pretty funny to watch as, they said when they did show up, keep those bombers in a tight formation, and that little line got everyone killed. But look, they just destroyed the fleet killer that we only see ever once in the trilogy. Wow. Whoa. Oh my gosh. That thing blows up. How did they fit that much explosives in a small package? How did the bombs fall out? Well, without looking at any external material, they don't explain it. They don't explain how the bombs drop. Sure, it could be magnets that pull them and then they go out then, but why not say that in the film, or show that in the film, or have something related in the film that says, oh hey, this happens because of this. I know I'm being a bit nitpicky here and I'm doing what everyone else has done, pointing and laughing at the bombers. I've been doing this for 6-7 minutes. One ends up destroying the whole capital ship, which that seems like a design flaw. But the thing is, the explosion is so large, the bomber explodes with the dreadnought, showing that my thought of this being a suicide mission, saying they're suicide machines of war, that was right. Ha ha ha. That was great. Thanks, Ryan. Going away from that, inside the bomber was someone who's connected to another character, and that character's like that other character's sister. I'll talk about her when I get to her. I will. And I will be crying when I do. Because she literally sexually assaults Finn at the end of this film. I'm not joking. People think, oh my gosh, that's so cute, she kissed him. No, that was sexual assault. I'm not saying otherwise. That was sexual assault. He didn't want the kiss. He never shown any physical or mental, connection to her, other than being friends. She did the exact same. She never shown that she loved him at all, until she just randomly out of nowhere kissed him. That's sexual assault. But apart from that, yeah, her sister dies. Yeah, she was in the ship, and she wasn't the pilot or the person in charge of dropping the payload of explosives. No, she was the gunner. The rest of the crew inside the ship died for some reason. We don't know why. It's not really shown how they died. They just keel over for this plot point to happen. The control panel thing she's after is, it's not connected to the cockpit at all. It's just sitting near the ladder. She's lying on her back. She kicks the ladder a few times while passing the area where she's supposed to blow up the dreadnought, and she kicks the ladder and she kicks it and she kicks it until it falls, and she almost drops the panel thing, but she grabs it before it falls out of the ship, and then she presses the button. The bombs fall somehow, and she dies. Yeah, that's her death scene right there. She just goes up with the ship. She explodes just like Executor from the original trilogy. You know, that one with the A-wing that crashes into the bridge and it goes down. Yeah, that one. Then she touches this weird, like, necklace thing she has around her neck. It's in the shape of a moon, and it looks kind of golden and sort of, you know, expensive. Yeah, she touches that, and she's, like, sad for a minute, but then she smiles, and then she... boom, you know? Like, big explosion, like, fiery yellow and red. Which, it's good that you're trying to get some character development in right now, Ryan. That's something I would do, to be honest. Something I probably will do in the future, but I wouldn't have it in such a stupid scene. I mean, sure, I'd probably have it in a stupid scene because I'm dumb, but still, I'm not putting it in such a random point where the control mechanism to drop the bombs isn't in the cockpit. It's, for some reason, not just a button you can press up there. I don't get it, Ryan. It's not, like, built into the machine, it's detached, and it drops. I don't get it. But yeah, it is shown that the fleet only escaped with this little group's sacrifice. And it was going to happen, a sacrifice of some sort, because those bombers are suicidal, I swear. Like, they have a mind of their own. They want to die. And to be honest, I wouldn't blame them if I was in this film. But the Resistance gets away, and then we cut to Hux, and you won't believe what happens next. I mean, maybe you would if you saw the film, which I'm guessing you have. But, yeah. Before that, we get a scene where Poe is in the capital ship, the Radus, for the Resistance. He's speaking to General Leia, and he gets demoted because so many people died. A sacrifice that would have happened, a sacrifice that was necessary for their survival, and he was blamed for a bunch of lives being lost, even though he saved every single life in the Resistance, just from that little sacrifice. It doesn't matter if so and so many people die, right? If the minority dies and you're saving the majority, should you really be blamed for that? I don't think so. But yes, apart from that scene, we go to Hux. He's on the bridge. He's kind of stroppy because, you know, the Resistance got away. Supreme Leader Snoke, he calls Hux on, like, Skype or something like that. He's got, like, a hologram on, and he's calling from, like, a different part of the galaxy or something. And it's just his face, which is kind of funny. And he's calling, and he's like, "Where is the Resistance?" or something like that. And Hux is like, I don't know, they got away. And then, Snoke uses the Force to throw Hux around like a toy. Wow, thanks, Ryan. You're really getting me to laugh here. At you. Damn it, Ryan. This is how you destroy a character, not build one. Why did you do this? Why? Hux was a cool character in the first film. Now you've broken him down. You've broken his legs and his arms, and, like, taken his tongue so he can't speak. What have you done here? And it only gets worse as the film progresses. There's one point in, I think it was Crate, it was called, the snow place that isn't snow, it's salt. For some reason the guy tasted the ground. Kylo picks up Hux with the Force and slams him into a wall. That's not how you build a character, Ryan. Why? As the next scene of this is in a completely different area, and it's not connected to this. It's connected with, like, a really loose string. It goes to Rey. And since I've been talking for way too long, 30-something minutes it says here, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I probably will continue this. And as I said in the beginning, please point out any mistakes I've made. I don't see any mistakes here, but, you know, just in case, point them out to me, so that I know exactly where I went wrong. I put a timestamp on what I did. Other than that, I thank you for watching. I don't know what to do now. Yeah, thank you for watching. I may make more in the future. That's a big may. It's not definite. It's not. I'm not gonna do it. I might do it. I'm not sure. I hope to see you another time when I make more of this. Well, if. Or is it when? I don't know. But yeah, see you.